I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
I'm only in favor of full profit. We don't want this to be sort of a profit-maximizing demon from hell.
That's right.
That just never stops.
Right.
so that's how OpenAI would.
So you want specious incentives here? Incentives that...
Yes,
like,
I think we want pro-human.
Yeah.
Let's make the future good for the humans.
Yes.
Yes, because we're humans.
Harvard's polling director told the Washington Post that the millennials he interviewed said capitalism was unfair and left people out despite their hard work. Well, yeah, it is unfair. That's kind of the idea.
Now watch this drive.
I was just telling Randy that this podcast is starting to feel like a job, a chore.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're not bringing the energy. When I was on Island Time last week...
Aren't you still on Island Time?
Well, here's the problem. I'm so glad you asked. The problem is putting in a notice, you still do have to continue working at the place.
Yeah, I remember the last time because I've been at places for very long periods of time, and the last time I put in 2 weeks, I was like, damn, I'm not done yet.
Yeah, and some people on this call are making me go to meetings still and talk to the people who may or may not be replacing me. And
how did you not expect that to happen?
I mean, it's not that I didn't expect it, right? It's just that now that it's happening, I'm going to complain about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
he needs somewhere to focus his energy.
And that's the other problem that I haven't considered is I don't know who I'm going to be mad at.
You're still going to be mad at the same people because your friends work there.
That's probably true, but I'm hoping that the sort of residual anger and rage will carry me through like to the finish line on some projects. But yeah, no, I'm business Drew now. I'm in business mode. You
business Drew. All right.
The hair is slicked back.
So you went from Island Time to business Drew.
Whenever I tell somebody that they're making a stupid ass decision, I always preface it with, I'm not a business guy, but blank. And I think I've just got to stop doing it. I think I've just got to start going at it.
May 5th or whatever, you will be officially a business guy.
I'm a business guy. I'm on my grind. I'm on the hustle mindset.
Yeah.
That's right. 24/7. What are you drinking?
Not going to be a developer.
No.
You can't refer to yourself as that. It's too limited.
No, that job's going away anyways.
Yeah.
We need to, when I was talking to one of the higher ups about my reasons for leaving, I think I literally used the phrase, I need to find higher ground because of the the flood that is coming in.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's actually, isn't that a Stevie Wonder cover?
Yeah.
So the only objective that I have is stacking as much paper as humanly possible, assuming paper is still good when the economy collapses, which probably
I
not.
just have one question for you, Drew. Are you wearing socks right now?
And slippers.
What kind of socks?
Black socks.
Are they business socks?
No. Unfortunately, those are in the shop.
All right.
Sometimes you ever business so hard your business socks and it causes like a mold situation.
All right, this is off the rails. Do we want to do album on display first, or do we want to do Elon's interview with Tucker Carlson?
Album on display.
Give me the album.
All right, you already got it. Carl's been sitting on this call; he can read it. Like I did not want to post this. Okay,
I know exactly what it is. But I'm not gonna say it.
Okay, first describe it, and I'm just gonna say really quick. This is the 25th anniversary of this album. And this is the 25th anniversary version of this album. So it's a really cool version. It's got a really beautiful booklet that comes with it. It's gatefold. It's got the front. You can't tell from the video, obviously, but the front has a pressing, so it's like embossed. The letters. And my old band, way long time ago, was like a huge fan of this band, and they were just pretty important in the late 90s, early 2000s, indie, emo. Sorry to rekindle that
Gorillas
scene.
So it's a white canvas album, or just a white album
canvas
background.
You bastard.
And there's a couple of frames of pictures on the white canvas background.
This Nickelback?
Almost like it's weaved together in some sort of
like
pattern, like you would do with hairs.
It can't.
It's like
It can't be
it's like
broken like a chain.
yeah, it's like a frame.
Stop
on
it with the damn
it's like
Fleetwood Mac.
it's like frames
No.
on canvas, or maybe it's in canvas, like frames in canvas, something like that.
Or frame and canvas.
Frame and canvas, yeah.
Right, just say it. You already gave it away.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They're from Champaign, Illinois. It was released in 1998 on Polyvinyl Records.
looking at it right now, it looks like a big, like Minecraft block. To be honest, the resolution is so low.
Oh, really?
Right
Is it
now.
is the lag switch kicking in?
Yeah. As soon as we said let's do album on display.
All right, sorry.
Are you on Ethernet?
I don't know why it does that.
He's on that fiber.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right, it's Braid, frame and canvas. I'm just gonna give it away.
Oh shit! Wow, that's crazy.
yeah.
no idea.
And released in 1998.
April 7th, 1998.
Again, this is a very important album in the Midwest emo scene in that time. Another cool little factoid is this was recorded at Inner Ear, which is where like Fugazi and Shudder to Think, a lot of the Discord DC hardcore records were recorded. Just a little cool nod to their forebears. But yeah, this is Bob Nana and Chris Broach and cool group of folks making really good pop punk emo.
Oh, fucking course
indie
it
songs.
focuses now.
Yeah,
The lag switch is true,
That's
man.
bullshit.
yeah.
So yeah, Braid, frame and canvas.
Emo and post-hardcore.
Yeah, it's really good though. I mean, in all honesty, I hate those genres. I hate all genres like that. It's a good pop record, basically. You know, it's a pop, guitar-oriented pop record with really good songs. Different kind of, they're not your typical like verse, chorus, verse, standard format songs. There's a quirkiness to them. Bob Nana, who's the primary lead singer, has a bit of a unique quality to his voice. He's not like a virtuosic singer or anything.
Look this guy up. Oh, I just said I gotta look this guy up.
Yeah. It's just, I like it. I don't know if nostalgia is tainting my opinions of this album.
It was.
No.
But, you know, give it a listen. I think
Yeah,
it's
I'll
really
try it
great.
out.
Yeah.
It has, as of July 2004, can you get some newer data, Wikipedia? Frame and Canvas has sold over 16,000 copies worldwide.
Yeah, see, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about Taylor Swift. We're not talking about Lady Gaga.
That's all I
talking
know
about,
is the
like,
Taylor Swifts
local
and the Lady
bands.
Gagas, Randy.
It's interesting. It says they were preceded by a European tour with the Get Up Kids. I remember the Get Up Kids.
Yeah, Get Up Kids were definitely one of the more prominent bands.
I didn't listen to the Get Up Kids.
They're
knew of
Kansas
them.
City, Missouri. So it's all like Midwestern emo, like that Promise Ring, Get Up Kids, Braid, like all that stuff coming out of the second wave. It's considered the second wave of emo. But Get Up Kids definitely were. Obviously, the
emo
biggest.
never had waves, Randy. It's all emo.
Okay, I'm gonna just name some of the bands here because I haven't heard of any of them. So, Hot Water Music, Doghouse Records is not a band.
Doghouse Records was Get Up Kids is signed to. That was a record label. Yeah.
Discount, that's a good ass band name. Never heard of them though. Burning Airlines.
Burning Airlines now, that was a side project of Jay Robbins. So DC kind of infiltrated the whole sound and it became very angular. Like You and Not You is part of that as well.
Formed in
That whole
1997. It would have been really funny if they were 4 years later. Seaweed,
Seaweed is Seattle. That's Sub Pop Records. They're really great.
kind of like Spitting.
Yep. I don't know that much about that band, but they were definitely part of the scene.
You're a
This is
goddamn-
like my old band like played with these bands. This is like a
This is
very
amazing.
formative
Yeah.
era of music for me.
That's it's incredible to me that you
What
know
did you
all these
click
things.
on?
What?
Would you
Where are
click
getting
like
these
second
lists
wave
from?
emo or
I'm
something?
just in
or-
release and promotion of this band, of this album.
Oh, okay.
You never cease to amaze me with your encyclopedic knowledge of the.
I mean, this is specifically to like the era that I kind of came, because I graduated high school in '97. I was in a band at that time, and this type of music in the indie rock scene was extremely important. I mean,
These are
the
bands
biggest
that made
band,
it.
the biggest band by far of this era, I'm sure you guys have heard of,
The
which is
Bellbeat.
Jimmy Eat World. Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah, I know Jimmy.
The
Eat World.
middle.
That's That was it. Yeah,
I saw Jimmy Eat World with Green Day at one of the arenas.
They came right out of that scene directly.
Who did they sell
They're
their
the ones
soul
that made
to?
it.
To make
I don't
it out?
believe in that stuff. I don't believe in it at all.
Oh yeah,
The Clash. Clash were on a the Clash were on a major label. The Clash is a band that you could never talk crap about. You know, and obviously this is 70s, 80s. You know, but they were always on a major label. So I don't want to hear anybody talking about like selling out. Now, if you got sold or if you signed to Geffen or Columbia or Sony and then completely transform your sound, then yeah. But Jimmy Eat World sounded exactly like Jimmy Eat World. Death Cab for Cutie sounded like Death Cab for Cutie regardless of what label they were.
No, that's not true. Death Cab for Cutie sounded exactly like the Postal Service.
Well, yeah, it's Ben Gibbard, so
such great hype.
I know.
It's the same lead singer.
I'm just saying, like, it's just the exact same band with a different name.
The best I can do on these segments is word association.
I like it. So we've already spent way too much time
We're a music podcast.
on display. Let's move on to current interviews of our favorite character for Watch This Drive.
I don't believe
Who's
he's
our
a real
favorite
person.
character?
I think it's Donald Trump.
It is not Donald Trump.
There's
one character that we talk about more than
that's our boy Elongate Musk.
Elongate Musk, yes. So Elongate was recently interviewed by Tucker Carlson.
Really?
It was
Second
just
close runner. The very
really,
close
I mean,
runner-up.
they almost kissed. It was a very romantic moment.
Is there like a thing that like a series that Tucker Carlson is doing or something? Because
yeah,
didn't he just interview or get interviewed by Ben Shapiro? Or
that was
something
years
like
ago. That was years ago.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, he just frequently or infrequently, whatever, he does these big name interviews, and he'll air them. This is a 2-part series, and the second part is airing tonight. So obviously, we only have the first part, which aired last night.
You guys want to stay up?
I don't know what time's Tucker on. I should know this.
Now.
We should know this.
Are we
8? I think
we
we already
live,
missed it. It already aired.
Oh,
I think it already aired.
Hold on.
It's probably like 7:30.
So yeah, Tucker, he pressed him really hard on a lot of subjects. I'm just lying. It was a bunch of softball bullshit. Mainly it was AI and Twitter. Those are the two things he covered the most. Touched on Tesla a little bit, SpaceX a little bit, but mainly it was AI and Twitter. Those are for this first segment, which is about 35 minutes or whatever. I pulled a couple clips though. Carl hasn't watched it, I think. Drew, did you watch the whole thing or did you just watch partial?
The highlights.
Okay, you watched the highlights. Okay, so the clips might be the highlights that you've already watched, but I just want to see Carl. I just want to reaction in general.
We're doing reaction videos now. So
we're doing reaction. Yeah, this is
Carl
this is
Reacts.
reaction.
Welcome to Carl Reacts. Like and subscribe.
Welcome to Carl Reacts.
All right, let's.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
I've been through so many regulatory situations; it's insane. And sometimes people think I'm some sort of like regulatory maverick that sort of defies regulators on a regular basis, but this is actually not the case.
Is it just me, or does he talk funny?
He does talk funny. I think he's got a lot of plastic surgery, and I'm not trying to pick on anyone's visual.
No, it's fine.
But I think he's got a lot of plastic surgery, like Botox and stuff. So I don't think he can actually move his face.
Like his like mouth doesn't really move
the way
something's
you would
going
expect
it to. I don't know if there's audio lag or if he really just like.
There's no audio lag. I think it's just because Tucker is Tucker. Like you can follow his lips.
It's called.
But there's something going on. Yeah.
If you watch
pantomime, he's practicing.
If you watch Elon Musk's lips while he's doing this, it's like every word is coming out like later. It's like he's a ventriloquist.
Yeah, it's throwing. He's gonna like drink it. You're gonna watch him like lift up a cup of water, and he's gonna sound exactly the same while he drinks it.
All right.
And once in a blue moon, rarely I will disagree with regulators, but the vast majority of the time.
Okay, are we listening to what he's saying right now? So
Tucker
regulation.
Carlson's face looks fucking stupid. Like all. Do you see that?
Stop.
Can you go back?
Talking about their looks.
Can you go back?
He's a regulatory maverick.
Look at Tucker's face.
No, that's what people say. He's a regulatory maverick. But what he's saying is he actually is very respectful of regulation and he follows it to a T.
Yes, that's where most of his bread is buttered.
I'm just going to rewind it.
Just start over.
Okay. I'll start it over.
Really look at Tucker's face. Really look at the
No. Watch Elon's mouth.
Both the faces are incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Tucker just has that concerned look.
Situations, it's insane. And sometimes people think I'm some sort of like regulatory maverick that sort of defies regulators on a regular basis. But this is actually not the case. Once in a blue moon, rarely I will disagree with regulators. But the vast majority of the time, my companies agree with the regulations and comply.
So Tucker,
That's it.
Tucker actually looked very pissed off that he was saying that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is
He's not happy about this.
This is a libertarian's wet dream to have these two together.
Yeah.
And what he's saying right now is just like pissing all over that.
Yeah.
But it's also, of course, he's.
I actually follow
but...
regulation, and Tucker's like looking at him like, "I will fucking murder you."
Before this comment, he was talking about how obviously he works in auto and he works in rockets. So the FAA, NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, both of them are extremely integral to his business. So he's used to that, and not only is he used to it, but he actually celebrates it, because the point he's trying to make is that AI needs to be regulated.
Right.
I just gotta say, I think maybe 3/4 of the way through, he was saying that's not actually true. And is Elon Canadian by chance?
No, he's South African.
Because his mouth moved like Canadians do, like in South Park. It just kind of open. It's just kind of up and down.
That real Canadians, their mouths don't move like that.
No, I dated a Canadian for a while, and that is exactly how they talk.
That's on the ground reporting, Randy. How are you going to argue with that? How are you going to deny Carl's lived experience?
All right. That's number
how
one.
Canadians look and talk.
Did you guys see it though?
Yeah, his mouth.
No, but the Tucker,
Canadian.
that's the face Tucker always makes. But to the point about regulation,
I'm talking about Tucker.
The point about regulation, these guys, it's the same with Mark Zuckerberg or whoever else. When they're in, of course they love regulation because it blocks anybody from being able to fucking get anywhere near them.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
there you
deal
go.
with
This clip actually starts with your
Very concerned.
He makes the same face throughout the entire.
I know, that's his face.
interview.
He looks like a fucking idiot all the time.
Let's describe this for listeners. He's got the eyebrows curled, kind of curious,
Anybody that's ever seen Tucker Carlson knows exactly what he looks like.
It's the face I make when I'm pretending to listen, but I can't because I'm.
He also doesn't have any lips. He lacks lips, which is I heard this comment made before,
Elon stole them
or something. No, this comment was basically I don't trust anyone without any lips, and then there was just clips of Tucker.
No, in this clip, you can tell Elon
has a lot of lip.
Elon is draining his lips with remote, some sort of vampirism type thing is going on.
All right. Let's play this one and just let you guys react.
I said, well, what about we're going to make sure humanity's okay here, and then he called me a speciesist.
So he doesn't really want humanity to be okay.
Hold on.
Did he use that term?
What the fuck?
Yes.
What the fuck noise did he just make?
I wasn't the only one there. When he called me a speciesist.
This one is very laggy.
I was okay, that's it.
Okay, let me
go back. Hold on, run that back.
Hold on. My reaction for this is, so as soon as he said he wants humanity to be okay or something, they both just busted out laughing.
Well, no. You do not call that laughing.
Well, what he did was of his version of laughing.
It's like a weird cackle.
Presumably.
We all, or everyone used to say that Mark Zuckerberg is a robot, but
no, I'm pretty
Musk sure Elon is also a robot.
Okay, I should have set up this clip a little bit more. So the context of this clip is Tucker asked him about the history of his investment in OpenAI, and Elon is describing his relationship with Larry Page, former founder, Google guy, and how he lived at his house in Palo Alto, and they had extensive conversations, and Elon was we got to be cautious about this AI, and Larry Page was basically no, just do what we want to do, or AI is the future, blah, blah, blah. So that's the start of this clip.
So, but by the way, neither of them had any idea what they were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, this clip also starts with a laugh. It ends with a laugh, with Elon's laugh and Tucker. That's
such a...
So focus on that a little bit as well, but...
I said, well, what about, we're going to make sure humanity's okay here. And then he called me a speciesist.
Did he use that term?
Yes. And there were witnesses. I wasn't the only one there when he called me a speciesist. And so I was like, okay, that's it. Yes, I'm a speciesist. Okay. You got me. What are you?
Okay.
That's it.
for one,
What the fuck?
never happened. Did not happen.
There was witnesses, Drew. There was witnesses
present
in the
them
room.
to me. Present, and also like how many times? I'll take the over under on that being tongue in cheek any day, if it happened.
Yeah.
But also,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not trying
that-
to defend Larry Page or
That was
whatever.
ridiculous.
It's just, like that's that whole clip is just fucking insane. Yeah, I was actually talking to Larry Page, who does not run Google anymore. He said I was speciesist. And then Tucker Carlson is like, that reminds me of these woke liberals calling me racist just because I'm saying I don't want brown people in the country.
Yeah, and beside the point, which is a point that I made to you guys, or at least to Drew earlier, which is about 20 minutes later, maybe in this interview, maybe even 10 minutes later, Tucker laughs about the fact that Elon laid off 80%.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about the human
So
race.
he's a species. Yeah, he's like, he cares about, humans. He's like, oh, you got me. It's like,
he
you
cares
don't
about
care.
himself.
You don't
that's
care.
It. That's it.
Yeah.
And the whole
Exactly.
AI, it's all going to kill us. I don't know, fucking maybe. I'm a lot more worried about nuclear weapons, and those have been with us for quite some time. But like, it's all marketing. This idea.
How many of these clips do we have,
it's gonna
Randy?
be
Just four.
Skynet.
Just four.
The more
Just four.
afraid
They're
you
very
are,
short.
the more they.
No, it's fine. I'm loving it.
All right, so this is about his disappointment in OpenAI and how it's currently, GPT specifically, how
He
it's
tried to
currently
do a
being
fucking
rolled
hostile
out.
takeover, and he dropped the ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm
probably.
thinking.
I'm sure that's
They beat him
what
to the
he's about to
punch.
say. I'm sure that's
Pretty
what
sure
he's
if
about
they
to
beat
say.
him to the punch.
You guys could read between the lines. I just thought this was kind of funny. So
I'm worried about the fact that it's being trained to be politically correct, which is simply another way of being saying untruthful things.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's a bad sign. There's certainly a path to AI dystopia is to train an AI to be deceptive. So yeah, I'm going to start something which I know you could call truth GPT or
Fuck you.
a maximum truth-seeking AI that tries to understand the nature of
name's
the
better.
universe. And I think this might be the best path to safety in the sense that
Safety.
an AI
don't do
that
it.
cares about understanding the universe, it is unlikely to annihilate
fuck does
humans
that
because
mean?
we are an interesting part of the universe.
But we're an interesting part
hopefully.
of the universe.
Here's the deal.
because we're
Elon.
part of the universe, bro. It
Yeah,
won't
but-
eliminate it as if we're part of it and it learns about us.
What about
The
are
only reason
the
we're
employees you just fired not part of the universe? You fucking
He goes real quick. He
Maniac?
goes on to say that we haven't killed all the chimpanzees. And
The only
they're lesser
reason
Not
we're
for lack
still
of trying.
alive. The only reason we're still alive is because we're training it to be woke. We're training it to care.
Exactly, Carl. You hit the nail on the head.
They're not
'Cause
training it to be
politically
woke.
correct is just trying to be fucking nice. Like,
Yeah,
what
it's
is
just-
wrong
it's-
with you people?
It's empathy.
It's not about lies. It's just trying to be like, oh,
What
you
does he
want to be
actually mean
referred
by
to
they're training it
as
to be
they,
woke?
them? You want to be referred to as they, them? I'll refer to you as they, them. Or, sorry, Oriental is a bad term. I will refer to you as Japanese or Chinese, whatever.
Or Asian, yeah.
Yeah, like,
whatever.
what the fuck?
Training
Like,
it
this
to
is
be
not,
to act. I mean, the whole point of AGI in general is that it's supposed to supplement or replace human intelligence for shit that we don't want to do. And in that model, of course, you would want it to act like a goddamn fucking person.
No, it needs to use the N word as much as it
well,
possibly
that's what I'm
can.
saying. Like, what is he providing any examples of what he means by they're training it to be woke? Right? Like, is it literally just you can't get it to say? It tries really hard not to say the N word. Is that it? Because there's an
Possibly.
interview. I'll draw a parallel to a different interview that Elon recently did with the BBC, where the interviewer said, "Oh, well, the Twitter, since your reign, has seen a lot of a big increase in hateful messages." And Elon said, "Oh, can you give me an example?" And the BBC person said, well, "No." And Elon said, "Okay, so you just lied then." And I would like to apply that same logic to this interview, Elon. Can you give an example of what slurs you would very much like it to say?
Probably the N word, I would assume.
That would be, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
That's
South
probably the big
African,
one.
so-
Yeah. When I was a
All
kid,
right, so this last clip is not about AI. This is actually about Twitter specifically, and it's more about Tucker than it is about.
15 seconds.
oh,
This
one
is
more
a
thing. One
doozy.
more thing.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
The,
go for
the
it.
number one use case for, in particular, right now, the Chat GPT, GPT-4, whatever,
is
like
about PC wokeness.
well, it's a corporate environment. Like, it's for a corporate environment, and so like
Yeah.
it responds exactly like you would expect a PR person to respond to you.
Which is the problem, Drew.
Or an
But that's
HR
the
person.
point. That's the
respond.
it
that's
should
capitalism.
be open.
That's
It should be
capitalism.
open and nonprofit.
Yeah.
so it can swear and
That's
use
also
the
fine.
N-word.
Listen, I don't really give a shit if it did like say bad words, right? The internet says bad words. You can Google that shit. Like it doesn't. I don't have a dog in that fight. But the fact that he's turning this into a culture war thing because he fucking missed the boat. It's so transparent. It's so cynical.
Well, he's only doing that for Tucker though. This is just performative for Tucker.
For this audience in particular. Yeah.
He knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah. All right. Again, this is about Twitter.
What does his shirt say? Does it say?
I'm not sure. I was trying to read it.
Fat man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know if it was like some fake like Klingon language or something. I don't know.
Oh, it might be. Maybe it's his daughter's name.
That's a good one. Got him. Bird. All right, here we go. Again, this one's about Twitter. It's about government involvement in Twitter.
The degree to which various government agencies had effectively had full access to everything that was going on Twitter blew my mind. I was not aware of that.
Would that include people's DMs?
Yes.
Very concerned, Tucker. Oh, I gotta delete some shit.
That's it. That's it.
I love that. I love that. Oh.
I know. I love the performative nature of it. Yeah.
But here's the thing.
These are such fucking softballs. I swear to God.
There's a thing that we weren't talking about, right? So he's talking about like the government having access to the DMs, right? Like and whatnot. And he's just scoffing at that. Mm-hmm. He's like, this is ridiculous. But we just read an article about law enforcement using these chats and social media stuff for hunting down people having abortions, and he's perfectly fine with that. It's the same fucking thing. Like it's giving the government access to this private social media information.
What is the actual?
That's okay though. Yeah.
What is the actual fucking worldview here? You can't pin it down, obviously, because it's not coherent. But it reminds me of the discourse that happened. What was it? There was a situation where there was a shooting in, I think, San Bernardino, and one of the shooters had an iPhone, and law enforcement wanted access to it because they wanted to see if they were connected to something larger. They wanted to do whatever. And Apple essentially said, no, we're not going to break this shit for you because of the precedent that it sets. I remember there being a very big discourse around it. And of course, people like Tucker, conservative people, and I mean, liberals too. I mean, they were all very upset with Apple. This is bigger than that. It's, it's a terrorist thing. What is your actual take on this, Tucker? Like, when should the government be allowed to?
Elon goes to describe that exact situation, not the San Bernardino thing, but he essentially makes the analogy of, I want encryption on DMs where if someone put a gun to my head as, owner of and CEO of Twitter, I would not be able to retrieve those DMs.
Do it then, coward. It's not that hard.
Well, he's saying that he's going to do it. And Tucker's like, well, yeah.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Well, talk to me again in an hour when somebody when
yeah,
that's very good.
Listeners, I'm doing a no lip kind of
and it's
thing,
like, okay,
I have a little bit of a lip.
It's so funny because I know. But because Elon's draining all of our lips just by us. Every time we say his name, we lose a little bit of our lip volume and it goes to him directly. These are the people that claim to be about protecting the children and whatever, right? And they also, in any other, like if you put a specific case in front of them that were like, we're going to catch an 8-year-old who needs an abortion, or we're going to catch somebody who may or may not be a terrorist that we may or may not have egged on to get there.
Or we're going to allow 14-year-olds to work 6 hours after school. Or
right, but it's
children,
like,
bro. You gotta give the children jobs. That's
specifically like in this context.
Iowa just did that. They just passed laws at 4:30 this morning to allow kids to work.
Yeah, this is progress. But this specifically with like end-to-end encryption stuff. Like it's, for me, it's loaded, right? Because on one hand, you definitely want people to be able to communicate privately and have their privacy protected and secure. On the other hand, obviously, that opens the door for a lot of illicit, immoral, unethical, illegal, heinous shit to happen on that platform.
Always been around, though.
No, I understand that, and that's why I tend to come down on the side of like just do end-to-end encryption. Like it's but that's
like but that's like it's almost like saying that like you should be able to just like search people's mail at any time you want.
No, but you can't, like, so if you got a warrant,
you know what I'm saying? Like I just sent a letter. I just sent a letter to someone, and it's like, oh, we're gonna read that just because we think there might be some illicit shit in there. It's like this.
Right,
this stuff's always.
They can do that.
I know they can.
Yeah, but any like
doesn't make it right.
You're watching The Sopranos right now. You watch The Wire. It's always
Yeah.
this.
But it's TV though. Like,
But
you
I
know,
mean, it's still
you never
it's
know
always
exactly how much what they can get away with.
But what I'm saying is, it's always based on this whole, Goodfellas or whatever. I know it's all TV and movies and whatever, but it's always based on this cops and robbers kind of this circle of we want access to this. We're trying to decode the cipher that they're communicating. That the drug dealers in the wire, Baltimore are communicating with blah blah blah. So yeah, it's always a race.
Cat and mouse.
It's a cat and mouse kind of game, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is just the next level of that. But at the same time, I'm just going to take a word out of Drew's mouth right now. You don't have to cure any of this if you just didn't have a shitty ass economic system such as capitalism.
Yeah. That's right.
You're just creating these situations with the material conditions on the ground that you have
It's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly.
Because
What has happened to
stimulates-
what has happened to the marijuana sales since it's become legal? As far as the illegal aspects of it, do people still go
My revenue's certainly
downtown?
down.
No, that's not what I mean. People sold it primarily because it was a way to make money, right? And because they were impoverished and they needed to make ends meet. Now that it's legal, it's like, what happened to those people?
I guarantee they're not doing well.
Yeah,
In that circle, they're probably pivoting to other drugs.
yeah, probably harder stuff that you can't get. But I don't know. I
Fentanyl is a big one and stuff. I mean, I can speak for, I'm not going to name any names, but people who are really close to me are just growing it on their own now because it's technically legal to grow so many plants or what have you.
Like a
yeah,
lot.
you can.
But weed itself is also extremely cheap right now, like legal weed. You can get 100 milligrams of edibles for $6, which is like 10 doses easily.
Milligram? Can we use America units,
no.
please?
No, it's just what's on the
America
package.
units. How many ounces? What are we
Let me
talking?
get the fucking bag.
I'm kidding. Drew, you don't have to. God damn it.
For the record,
Drew, I
I've
don't like
never
this.
sold.
And for the record, I don't like this hair at all, Drew.
Yeah, I
Why?
don't either.
It's too well.
I just like the wild.
Yeah.
my
hair.
fucking Bernie wannabe.
I think it's.
No, I like your Charlie hair.
I think there's a bit of false advertising going on with the
This is like
thumbnail in
this is
YouTube
like
right
Mac
now.
hair,
That's
and
what
I
you
don't
get for
think you're
using
a
static
Mac.
assets, YouTube and Randy.
Do I need to redo your hair
No,
for
you
every
should just
thumbnail?
you just need to have some sort of on the fly automated system that interprets it.
I had to draw that by hand, you bastard.
I know. Well, you probably didn't need to, but I appreciate the craft. The fact that you didn't need to, I think, makes it more meaningful. It's not on here. I guess I could Google it.
Yeah, well, just give me what's 600 milligrams? You can just
100
Google
milligrams,
that.
100
Yeah,
milligrams.
why did you go all this way?
I don't know. I think to impress you guys.
Okay, well that's not that
impressed.
much. That is not that much at all. It's 0.003 ounces.
It's basically not even there.
It's very little. Very little.
I think you actually get more M&Ms in a pack of M&Ms.
But that's just the content of that's not the weight of the.
It is the way.
All right. Let's pivot to the next segment.
What is the next segment?
I have Bard. I have an invite to Bard. I'm
Right on.
I'm a Google guy, so I got it from my Pixel phone and everything. They invited me very early, so I have it.
Yes,
Drew has GPT-4
That's right.
because he's on that side of things. So I think we need to have GPT-4 and Bard have a conversation.
Yes. Did you want to talk at all about the 60 Minutes thing, or are we not gonna have time?
We could talk about the 60-minute.
The only thing that
I didn't
really
cut any
cared-
clips from it.
It's okay. The only thing I really care to say about that is that 60 Minutes interviewed Google, I would say, fairly uncritically
Mhm.
about their AI offerings.
But as
Google-
uncritically as Tucker interviewed Elon.
Yeah, two sides of the same coin here. And the main thing that I got from it is that we have in fact reached the stage of the hype cycle where people are just lying about things. And the one thing that I think stands out and has been roasted online to no end is that there's a bit in there where somebody's like, yeah, it learned Bengali on its own with just a few prompts. No, Bengali was in the training set. So the one way that you could interpret it is that when they said Bard, they were referring to an earlier version that was not trained on Bengali. But I don't know. That's pretty generous.
Not to be devil's advocate here, but when I watched that, I definitely got the same impression. I think that was the 60 Minutes folks giving us that impression more than the actual Google folks, though.
Okay.
I think what the guy
It's
was
just creative
implying was the fact that because it knew Bengali and it knew English, that it could translate English statements to Bengali very quickly, and that it didn't require multiple inputs or multiple tests in order to achieve that translation. That's how I interpreted it, but
that's cool. I bet you the Google Translate thing is going to get way better.
That's what I thought he was implying, because Google Translate, contextually, if you have a large language model and it knows so many different ways, I mean, it can write poetry and stuff. It can warp the language in ways that, these Google Translate kind of algorithms can't. So it would be the equivalent of asking a real Bengali speaker, how would you say this phrase in Bengali? How would you say?
And that's interesting. Like, I'd be interested in seeing like how it handles converting phrases that don't exist into another language.
Exactly. Yeah, especially when you come.
Like, that's interesting, because English has like we have a ton of idioms. We have a ton,
that's
ton
what
of, like,
I was going to use, that exact same term.
How will it translate that into something where they don't have a word for that? My partner and I, when we were learning German, after watching Dark, because we got addicted to it, it's like English is like the hardest language to learn, simply because there's so many words. And like, you look at, there's not that many words.
There's not that many rules either. No, there's a lot of rule breaking.
Yeah, there's a lot of rule breaking, but there's just like not words for certain things, and like one word can mean multiple things in German and many other languages, So yeah, I would be really interested in like how that happened.
That's how I was interpreting that phrase. Now Drew is rewatching the video, so he might prove me wrong.
I can't find the fucking clip. God damn it!
But that was essentially, I could see the power in that, because again, if you have a large language model that has analyzed thousands upon thousands, hundreds, millions of lines of a specific language, then comparing that to another translation could be the equivalent to having two native speakers.
How do you feel this is going to affect like translation houses?
I think it'll kill them.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly in that 60 Minutes interview. I think that's what they're implying, is that they'll no longer have a job, because there's no point in having the nuance of like, well, this is informal and this is more formal, and
even if it's only 90% as good, it's 5,000 times cheaper. So do the math.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they might exist just to like maybe give it a look over, right? Like, you might have one.
Possible.
There'll be far fewer employees in those spaces, to just go over things.
Yeah. I mean, the example,
Maybe.
and I don't know if this is all staged, I don't know if this is all scripted, but the example, and this is Bard. Bard is less sophisticated.
It
than
fucking
GPT-4.
sucks.
Okay. The example that they had in 60 Minutes is the Hemingway short story thing, the sentence, which was baby shoes for sale, never worn. So it's six words.
Yeah.
And write a story about those 6 words. And it wrote this, beautiful, story. That's the type of thing we're talking about here. Like, it can take the context of those 6 words and it can weave a story together. If you apply that to translation, then of course your translation is going to be better. It understands way more depth in the context of what you're getting at through the language than your typical Google Translate would.
I was being overly aggressive with the Bard thing. It's still really good, but like, because it does things that would be unimaginable 3 years ago. But it's like, you compare it to GPT and it's like,
yes, of course, yeah. It's
just so funny, like how quickly this shit is like moving, like how fucking parabolic it's getting in terms of like, oh well, it can only write 60% of my code, so get that shit out of here.
At the same
I tried
time,
to get to write it a song for Randy's band, but it actually like kept writing like a song with the name of your band in it.
Which version?
Yeah.
Which version?
3.5. One is the
Braid sold 16. Braid sold 16,000 copies of Frame and Canvas. I'm woefully behind that, so I don't know if GPT really knows about my band.
How this
Maybe
happens is not well understood. For example, one Google AI program adapted on its own after it was prompted in the language of Bangladesh, which it was not trained to know.
Cap.
Okay.
Very few amounts of.
But again, they could be referring to some
that's
other
the 60
program.
Minutes guy. That's the 60 Minutes guy. This harkens back to like 4 or 5 episodes ago when I was complaining about being interviewed. Back to the band thing, being interviewed. These people, they have no clue what they're actually asking. So the editors, they take creative freedom, and it's like before you know,
how can we make this thing sound as scary as possible?
Or how could we completely miss the point of what this Google engineer? It was actually a senior vice president that was demonstrating this, but how can we totally miss the point of what he was actually demonstrating?
I would also think that, like, because Google is an international company and they support so many different languages and just about everything that they do, that it probably just by default
I can't imagine
has like Bengali in there.
Well, did you look at all 2 trillion documents and make sure there was no Bengali in it?
Here's the point, though. The point is, currently, Google Translate has to be trained on all the different variations or not trained, because it's not AI.
It is. They still use like deep learning.
But it has to be plugged into all the different variations of the contextual properties of a specific phrase or what have you.
It's a much more precise process.
Yes. So a translation is very literal. If you write car drives down the road, it's a very literal thing. But if you wanted to get a more poetic contextual meaning behind something, it's going to fall flat every single time. But if you have a large language model and it knows 16 different languages, it will be able to give you a more precise translation of the meaning and the context behind the semantics, the phrase.
And that's
the semantics,
and you get that for free.
The power
is a consequence of the thing.
And really the power of that is just, it's immeasurable. It's huge. It's like Hitchhiker's Guide, a babblefish in your ear. Like, because it's way more powerful.
And it's one piece of models that have only existed for fucking 2 years.
But you are this close. And for listeners, I'm doing very close index and thumb finger. You're this close to getting a babblefish, to getting like headphones that can literally translate so nuanced and so specific of any language in direct, like real time.
The only thing,
this is beyond just like, because they have those, but they have those in a very literal sense. So you get this like broken, weird kind of translation. You have to kind of build the context yourself based on like different clues that you might get. Now it's going to be so beautifully specific that you're going to like get
most modern speech to text, like Whisper and DeepGram just released their own new thing, and Assembly AI just released their own new thing. They're also really good at just automatically detecting the language that they're putting into text, right? And so that really the only thing that's blocking that sort of incredible sort of like experience that you're describing is latency. And the only thing that's really blocking that is running these things on device. And we're already seeing that start to happen. There's a lot of open source models that you can run on a decently spec MacBook. And, they're not as quote unquote, they're not as good as like sort of the ones that you hit the inference APIs on. But again, we're really fucking early with this stuff.
Yeah. Google, I know it's a completely different thing, but Google already like smashed its assistant down to a phone where it didn't have to like hit the cloud every single time.
Apple's been working on dedicated quote unquote like neural chips, like AI dedicated chips for some time now. And they're in most of the devices that currently exist. They've been releasing papers since June of 2022 about getting transformer models to run on those chips. I really think that like this year, next year, we'll be seeing a version of like Siri that is powered by an LLM that runs locally on your device.
Smart move for Apple just to skip the whole nonsense of like Alexa and Google Assistant and everything. Just go straight.
Yeah, just go for the fucking throat. And it's like, and this is kind of the thing that we've talked about before, where it's like they've been kind of in a wait and see, in like a holding pattern on voice tech in general. And we're watching Google and Amazon both have to completely gut everything that they've invested in response to this stuff. I really do think that this is probably where they're going to jump in, and they're going to look at sort of these existing models and say, okay, well, this is going to be like the new basis for kind of everything. Because that's the main thing that I think a lot of people miss. It's not just that it can make text. It can understand intent and it can map that to take action. Like the Chat GPT, I may have said this on this program before, but like the chat,
we're program guys. We've grown
Chat
up.
GPT plugins ecosystem. You feed it an API spec, and it figures out how to make the request.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the plugin. That's fucking nuts. The barrier to entry is 0. It's insane.
It's insane. I'm again, not to keep on harping on this point, but I'm still most impressed with the I mean, it can write poetry. I don't care about whether it's good
stuff.
I don't care about whether it's good or bad. Writing poetry means that you understand the language. Intimately understand.
I will be more
language.
impressed when it can make puns.
It can do that.
It 100,000%.
Yeah, it can. I'm just saying, like, it's not just, spitting out copy and paste. It can actually understand the context and how to get an emotion across. This goes back to the joke, like it getting that joke.
People have described it. People that are like sort of naysay, like detractors of this stuff, and I don't 100,000,000% buy into all the hype, but it's like if you are like thinking that this is just another fucking Web3 crypto hype thing, I understand why you would think that.
God,
we've all been fucking burned by this shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is not that.
Different.
And people like, so detractors, like the phrase that gets thrown around is, oh, it's just it's a parrot. It's a stochastic parrot. And I think the weaker models kind of deserve that criticism.
But if it's a parrot, we're all parrots.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like if you are doubting, quote unquote, like, and I don't give a shit if it's quote unquote intelligent or not. We don't even know what intelligence means in a human.
No, like children do not go to school to learn how to speak. All right, they just learn how to speak from absorbing their parents and their surrounding environment, and they learn the language, the native language. They get more specialized, and they learn writing and what have you.
And they have an internal monologue, and they have all,
But speaking, the actual words and being able to communicate is a base function of our human biology. And this thing, it's got that.
Yeah, better than most people, better than me.
I actually
it can go a full paragraph without saying that fucking sucks about everything.
Let Carl speak, Drew.
Fine. I used it today to have it explain some things to me. Like whenever I'm trying to like learn something new, the first thing I do is like I either read documentation on it, or I try to look at Stack Overflow, or just type it into Google to see what kind of answers I get to help me help explain things, because maybe I just don't know the right words.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing what you don't know is a big thing with learning something new. Today, I've asked Drew to explain this to me once before. It was a piece of code because it was relatively new to me, and Drew knows it very well, but it sometimes he's not good at explaining things.
Yeah,
but I just pasted the line. I pasted the line.
Surely you could have given the story without putting me down.
No, it's better this way.
I pasted this line into ChatGPT and I said, "Can you explain what this means?"
Like on 5.
What was it?
And I'm not telling you. And it was that.
Are you embarrassed?
No, not at all. It was that TypeScript thing I asked you about to help me explain, like with the placeholder types and and all that generic types or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it was really cool how it explained it like step by step. Like, okay, this is this is that. This comes with this has a default of this. This has this, which is the default of that. This has to be called because it needs this. It's required. And I'm just like, wow, that's fucking clear as day.
Yeah.
And I don't have to like search all of the Stack Overflow. I don't have to post on there and have some asshole tell me my grammar's wrong, or tell me that it's not a good question for Stack Overflow, or that I didn't.
This question's already been asked.
Or I didn't. What else? I didn't show that I did any work or research at all, or I don't have to get all that. I can just ask ChatGPT, and it's just like, oh yeah, I can explain this to you.
Have you heard of Found?
No.
Phound? Go there right now. Okay. Go there this
minute. Not Found magazine.
No, you'll thank me. No, that's not it. That's not how you spell it. Hold on.
This is the Bard versus ChatGPT, or GPT-4 is becoming a Matt Damon, Jimmy Kimmel bit at this point.
I think this bit.
I don't think we're going to have time for.
We're not going to have time for this bit.
I apologize to Bard and GPT-4.
Yeah, next time our guests, we'll fly him back out.
It'll be fine.
He's just found as the
just sitting in the green room, just waiting for the chance to shine.
Why can't I fucking I can't find found.
This is what you can't find found. That's unfortunate.
AI dev search tool. God damn it! Where are you? Find PHIND.
Find. Oh, it's not found. It's find.
PHIND. So this.
It was a tense. It was a tense.
This is going to give you. So I found some success with this.
The AI search engine for developers.
So yeah. So this is actually really incredible. You can feed it specific sources you want it to use. And this gets around the knowledge cutoff of ChatGPT because it's very similar to Bing, but this is like dedicated to developers. You can ask it for specific help with like a specific problem, and it will use up-to-date documentation. It's actually really incredible.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
It's very nice.
I was looking into MUI for a couple things. I'm pretty good at bending MUI to my will now. But there's some things that I was just like, okay, how do I get this in there? Like where would this go? Like, because in order to do some things with MUI, like especially with TypeScript, you have to know the modules that you're kind of augmenting. And if you don't know what those modules are, then you got to kind of try and find it and look it up, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. And I was like, all right, well, how do I get this in there? I want custom components. How do I get a custom component to be in the theme so that I can customize it there
with type safety?
And I was like, oh, with using TypeScript. And it was like, oh, all you have to do is just, you're going to have to augment with this, augment this component thing, add this. I'm like, okay, how would I add my own props to that? And then also like have the style overrides function. It's like, oh, then you just need to add this prop to it and give it a default and declare it this way. And I'm just like, that's fucking dope. Like, and that's stuff that you won't find on materials documentation. Like it's just not in there.
It hasn't been fucking written down.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting because like they have some,
right, and that's all it needs.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I love it. I was like, oh man, this is like, it's gonna take it to the next level. It's
and this is right. So we have a very brief window. Those of us who have skills that are about to be erased by this thing, because in this brief window, we will be able to output 10 times what we would normally punt out, which is why I would advocate to not have a salaried position at this moment, but or have one and do other things, because the cost of doing this stuff, like the actual raw doing, is going to get very, very small. And that's another reason that I say that like source code itself is not all that valuable an asset to an organization.
You mean small or you mean cheap?
Cheap. In terms of the boilerplate, the repetitive shit, really anything, which is a great thing and a horrible thing. If we weren't in the system that we're in, it would be a universally great thing, because it would mean that everybody gets to make more shit faster. Unfortunately, we live in an extremely competitive world with competitive zero-sum mindsets. These things will eat everyone, including developers.
Yeah, it's gonna be just about everyone except in physical labor spaces.
Yeah, and I mean, people say, oh well, you'll still need somebody piloting these things, and that's true, but it's going to replace all your juniors, and then it's going to replace most of your seniors, and then it's going to be 10 people per company, really.
Yeah, you're going to have some like legacy folks like floating around just to kind of babysit the bots.
It won't even be legacy people. What it'll end up being is whoever they can find that's the absolute cheapest.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah,
it's going to be
prompts. Yeah.
And the way things are going, it's actually just going to be like a 13-year-old in 6th grade, 7th grade
in Iowa.
No, it'll be all over the U.S. by that time.
Well, they've got plenty of time because they're using ChatGPT to do their homework.
Yeah.
Episode 31.
Shit's going to get real weird. We keep saying it, folks. It's going to keep getting weirder.
Drew is no longer in Island Time. Now he's wearing a shirt that kind of looks like he's.
I'm losing my goddamn mind time. I'm becoming completely neurotic.
He looks like he's getting a little militant. He looks like he's
he does.
A bit militant, yeah.
He actually looks like he's
in
boot camp.
Like a Che Guevara kind of look to him right now.
I don't know. I'll have a botnet as opposed to freedom fighters.
Would this replace Fidel Castro?
It could never.
This AI?
It could never. Because you know why? Even the CIA couldn't unplug Fidel Castro.
Boom, bitch. So We Do Crime, leave us a voicemail, wedocrime.com/voicemail, and watch our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@wedocrime. Episode 31. We love you. Thank you so much for sticking around.
I love you even more than Randy does.
Why are we saying I love you all of a sudden?
I don't know. I like it. It's fun. Bye, folks.
Good night.
not selling anybody's data.
Now watch this drive.